Welcome to Global Economic Pulse, the podcast that dissects the intricate ways world events shape our financial lives. Today we're diving deep into a critical and potentially volatile topic, the economic impact of a conflict in Iran on the United States. Whether it's a simmering tension or a full-blown crisis, Iran's strategic position and its role in global energy markets mean that any instability there sends ripples across the world, directly affecting American businesses and consumers. We'll explore the immediate shocks, the cascading indirect consequences, and crucially, what the economic landscape might look like for the U.S. when the dust finally settles. I'm your host, Alex Thompson, and we're about to untangle this complex web. Our journey today will take us through the direct economic tremors. Think oil prices, trade routes, and financial markets. Then we'll examine the less obvious, but equally significant, indirect effects like inflation and supply chain vulnerabilities. We'll also consider the broader geopolitical chessboard and how alliances and sanctions play a role. Finally, we'll shift our focus to the future, analyzing the potential economic benefits of peace in the region, as well as the lingering risks and uncertainties that could persist even after the conflict ends. So buckle up as we explore how events thousands of miles away can profoundly impact your wallet. The most immediate and visceral economic shockwave from any conflict in Iran is almost certainly going to be felt in global oil prices. Iran is a significant oil producer, and any disruption to its production, export capabilities, or the shipping lanes it influences, like the Strait of Hormuz, can immediately tighten global supply. This isn't just about barrels of oil. It's about the intricate global energy supply chain. When supply is threatened, prices tend to spike. And this has a direct, often painful effect on the U.S. economy, driving up costs for everything from gasoline at the pump to the energy required for manufacturing and transportation. Beyond oil, trade disruptions are a major concern. If conflict escalates, we could see sanctions imposed or tightened, or even physical blockades impacting shipping. This directly affects U.S. imports and exports. Many goods we rely on or components for goods manufactured in the U.S. might transit through or originate from the region. Damage to infrastructure or increased shipping risks can lead to delays, increased costs and shortages, impacting businesses that depend on these global supply lines and ultimately the availability and price of goods for American consumers. Financial markets are notoriously sensitive to geopolitical instability. News of conflict in a key region like Iran can trigger significant volatility. We often see stock markets react negatively as investors become risk-averse, leading to sell-offs. Currencies can fluctuate, and the overall investor confidence can plummet, making it harder for businesses to secure funding and potentially slowing down investment. If the U.S. is directly involved, the cost would escalate further with potential increases in military spending, aid packages, or other financial commitments that have a tangible impact on the national budget. The direct shocks we just discussed have a powerful domino effect, leading to significant indirect economic consequences. The most prominent is inflation. When energy and commodity prices surge due to conflict, these higher costs don't stay confined to the energy sector. They trickle down through the entire economy. Businesses face increased operational costs, from transportation to manufacturing inputs, and they often pass these costs on to consumers in the form of higher prices for everyday goods and services. This erosion of purchasing power is a major concern for households across the U.S. Beyond the immediate trade disruptions, geopolitical instability can expose and exacerbate longer-term vulnerabilities in global supply chains. A conflict in Iran or the broader regional instability it might cause can disrupt crucial shipping lanes, affect the availability of raw materials, and even impact manufacturing hubs that are indirectly linked. This means that even sectors not directly trading with Iran can feel the pinch through delays, shortages, and increased logistical costs, highlighting how interconnected our globalized economy truly is. Uncertainty is the enemy of economic growth, and geopolitical conflict breeds uncertainty. When businesses and consumers feel that the future is unpredictable, they tend to pull back. Businesses may postpone or cancel investment plans. Hiring freezes can occur, and consumers might reduce discretionary spending, opting to save rather than spend. This dampening of confidence can have a significant drag on economic activity, potentially leading to slower growth or even a contraction. In certain industries like automotive, manufacturing, and technology, which rely heavily on global supply chains and predictable demand, can be particularly exposed. A conflict in Iran doesn't happen in a vacuum. It has profound implications for international relations and global stability. U.S. alliances and partnerships are tested. How do allies respond? Will they align with U.S. policy, or will differing interests create rifts? The way the U.S. navigates these relationships and the broader global response can significantly impact economic cooperation, trade agreements, and the overall stability of the international economic order. A fractured global front can lead to less predictable trade environments. Sanctions are a key tool in international diplomacy, and in the context of Iran, they can be a significant economic weapon. However, their effectiveness is often debated. While sanctions can aim to cripple an adversary's economy, they can also have unintended consequences. They might disrupt global markets, impact the economies of countries that trade with Iran, or even lead to humanitarian concerns. The U.S. must weigh the economic leverage of sanctions against their potential backlash and the long-term impact on regional stability and global trade flows. The potential for a conflict in Iran to spill over and create broader regional instability is a critical economic risk. Neighboring countries could be drawn in, trade routes could be further jeopardized, and a general climate of fear and uncertainty can deter investment and disrupt economic activity across a wide swath of the globe. This ripple effect can impact global commodity prices, supply chains, and international trade in ways that extend far beyond the immediate conflict zone, creating a complex and volatile global economic landscape. Ultimately, major conflicts like one in Iran can strain international cooperation and challenge global economic governance. Institutions designed to foster stability and facilitate trade can be put under immense pressure. Disagreements over policy, the imposition of unilateral sanctions, and the general disruption to global flows can weaken the frameworks that underpin international economic relations, making it harder for countries to collectively address global economic challenges and potentially leading to a more fragmented and less predictable global economy. When stability returns to a region like Iran after a period of conflict, the potential economic benefits for the U.S. can be substantial. One of the most immediate is the reopening of trade routes and markets. A stabilized Iran and its neighbors could present new opportunities for American businesses. Access to previously restricted markets, smoother transit of goods, and the normalization of trade relations can stimulate economic activity and create new avenues for growth and investment for U.S. companies. The stabilization of energy prices is another significant positive outcome. A predictable and secure supply of oil from Iran and the surrounding region can lead to a calming of global energy markets. This translates directly into lower and more stable prices at the pump and for industrial energy consumption. Reduced energy costs can help curb inflation, boost consumer spending power, and lower operational costs for businesses, providing a much-needed tailwind for the U.S. economy. Following any conflict, there's often a period of reconstruction and rebuilding. This presents significant opportunities for economic engagement. U.S. companies with expertise in infrastructure development, engineering, and technology could play a vital role in rebuilding efforts in Iran and the wider region. This not only offers lucrative contracts and investment prospects, but also fosters goodwill and strengthens economic ties, creating a more stable and prosperous future for all involved. Perhaps one of the most crucial benefits of peace is the restoration of global investor confidence. Uncertainty and conflict drive investors away. When the geopolitical landscape stabilizes, capital tends to flow back into markets. This renewed confidence can lead to increased investment in businesses, stock markets, and emerging economies, fostering broader global economic growth, which in turn benefits the U.S. through increased trade, investment opportunities, and a more robust global economic environment. However, the end of active conflict doesn't automatically usher in an era of perfect economic harmony. Lingering political instability within Iran or the wider region remains a significant risk. The potential for renewed internal strife, political power struggles, or the resurgence of extremist groups can continue to create economic friction, deter investment, and keep markets on edge. Rebuilding trust and establishing firm governance structures are crucial but often lengthy processes. Even with the cessation of hostilities, underlying geopolitical tensions may remain unresolved. These could include territorial disputes, ideological differences, or historical grievances. Such unresolved issues can continue to cast a shadow over the region, leading to ongoing economic uncertainty, trade barriers, and a reluctance for long-term investment. The path to genuine, lasting peace is often more complex than simply ending the fighting. The economic aftermath of conflict also includes the significant burden of debt and the costs of recovery. Iran itself will likely face immense financial challenges in rebuilding its infrastructure and economy. This could lead to a need for substantial international aid, loans, or debt restructuring. The terms and conditions of such financial assistance and the potential for new economic dependencies or shifts in regional power dynamics will be critical factors influencing the long-term economic trajectory. So, we've journeyed through the complex economic landscape surrounding a conflict in Iran. We've seen how direct shocks like oil price spikes and trade disruptions can quickly escalate into indirect consequences such as inflation and supply chain vulnerabilities. We've also considered the broader geopolitical implications and the critical role of alliances and sanctions. The potential benefits of peace, reopening markets, stabilizing energy, and reconstruction opportunities are significant, but they are tempered by the real risks of lingering instability, unresolved tensions, and economic recovery challenges. For the U.S. economy, the balance of risks and benefits is dynamic. During conflict, the risks of economic disruption and inflation are paramount. Post-conflict, the benefits of stability and new opportunities emerge, but only if the transition is managed effectively and underlying issues are addressed. Preparedness, adaptability, and a clear-eyed understanding of these interconnected economic and geopolitical forces are essential for navigating this volatile environment. Ultimately, events like these underscore the interconnectedness of our global economy. What happens in one region can have profound and far-reaching impacts everywhere. As listeners, understanding these connections is the first step in preparing for the economic realities of an unpredictable world. Thank you for joining us on Global Economic Pulse. We'll be back next time to explore another critical economic issue shaping our world.